sometimes people can fall off the bandwagon, right? They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, systems, like I want to do it. I want to be like, well, I want to be that great business owner that has everything down pat and can go away. Then like, life gets in the way, other things get in the way. And it seems like they start to, fall back into old habits. Obviously, being that you've seen everything, happening out there in the wild now, what's your thoughts on that? What are some things that business owners could do if they've started and they've fallen off the bandwagon? What's some things that they could do to bring themselves back up?
Definitely a common one, because the business owner reads systemology, gets all excited, starts the process, and then, as you said, things get in the way. I think probably one of the biggest things, and maybe in addition to go into my next book, is around this idea of having a systems champion. And we talked about it a little bit, but the more businesses that I see deploying systemology and the ones that make it work and those that don't, having someone that really drives it forward and continues to keep it front and center and continues to work away at it. And part of their role, they might not be your systems champion full-time. They might be an admin assistant, but then part of their role is systems champion, is making sure that there's a certain amount of time allocated every single week to identifying what systems need to be created, where systems are broken, where there are issues inside the business that systems can solve, and making it easy for the team to capture the way that they do things. Because that's the other big thing. A lot of your great staff are really, really busy, and just putting another thing on their plate saying, can you document the way that you do this? They're going to say, yeah, I'll get to it. It's important. It's not urgent. I've got 50 other urgent items that I'm going to get to first. And then that's oftentimes how it kind of slips into this back seat. But it's critical to try and make it part of the way that you do business to keep it front and center. So one of the ideas is this idea of the systems champion, and who is going to take the lead for that, who is going to keep it front and center, and trying to introduce some incentives for them and the team for when they do follow process. And that's another big one, just kind of shining the light. And whether or not you have a team meeting, maybe you build that into the team meeting when you're giving a shout out for people. Hey, last month, James created this system or followed this process and got a really great result. Like, continually rewarding the positive behavior that you want to try and reinforce is another big one. And trying to identify the people who support the initiative is another big one, like finding your systems champion. And then not everybody is necessarily going to be able to connect with systems and processes, but there will be some that this will just make sense for them. And do whatever you can to really support them and encourage them and shine the light on that, because that's what shows the other team members, this is the way that I need to be acting. This is what the business owner or the leadership team want to be seeing. That's a big part of it as well. Sometimes the other one, and I'll take a breath after this one, you might have some ideas where you can, almost like burning the bridge behind you or committing to a certain sprint is probably one of the biggest things, where you identify, hey, here are the first 15 systems that we're going to create. We have a deadline of when that needs to be done, and have a minimum viable version of these systems in place by 2 months from today. And then how can we make that visual? So we list out the systems that are going to be created, and maybe they get color-coded orange once you record the task being done, and green once they're complete and documented. But trying to turn it into a little bit of a game with like a clear end before the next sprint is done, and working in batches is really key as well, because I think people work best when there's a deadline and something that they're working towards.